The following podcast is provided by Athira Pharma and Answers for Elders Radio.
And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio Network. And we are here courtesy of Athira Pharma. And we are here with Dr. Daniel Burdick from the Evergreen Hospital Medical Center. And Dr. Burdick and I have been talking about Lewy body dementia and specifically the SHAPE trial that is going on at Evergreen Medical Center right now. And I apologize, in our last segment, we did not get the website. So Dr. Burdick, I would love for you to share, how do people reach your trial?
Sure. So two websites to go to, www.shapetrial, that's SHAPE trial.com, or the Evergreen Health website is www.evergreenhealth.com/research.
Fabulous, fabulous. And certainly we know, we're so proud to have Evergreen Hospital because they really do an amazing, the whole medical center of all the things that they do and just for the community overall. And this is certainly one that we're really excited to learn about. And so, we talked in our last segment, Dr. Burdick, about, what does it mean to be a part of a trial? And I think one of the things that we talked a little bit about with Lewy body dementia is up until now, there hasn't been a great prognosis. Obviously, there's, once that happens, it's just a decline, whether it's slow, whether it's medium, everybody's different. It seems like, I know in traditional dementias and Alzheimer's, the younger you are tends to be that you get diagnosed, the faster it progresses, which is kind of sad. And but is that the same, by the way, for Lewy body dementia?
Actually, with the Lewy body diseases, older age of onset usually is a faster progression.
Okay, so that's different.
Slower progression. Yeah.
Okay, well, then that's good to know. See, like I said, I know about as much on it is ahead of a pin, right? So,
Sure.
Obviously, if you're involved in a trial and you're learning, you're getting involved and you have this wonderful advocate that you work with and a physician, and you're doing this trial over the months. As a physician that is conducting the study, I guess, what are what we call the endpoints, or what are you looking for to, the progression of the trial that knows that you're finding success? I guess that's my question.
Sure, yeah. So we talked about this generally a little bit earlier, and we'll go into more detail now. So it's twofold: safety and efficacy, as I mentioned earlier. On the safety side, that's kind of what we discussed earlier, I guess. But the safety issues are, checking labs, physical exam changes, EKG, a couple of scales around changes in mood, et cetera. So those are the basic safety assessments that we would do. The efficacy, to find out if it's effective or not, is a little bit more and more detailed. The main assessment is around cognition. So when we talk about cognition in dementia with Lewy bodies and Parkinson's disease dementia, we're thinking about person's ability to remember, to recall, to speak fluently, to come up with the words they want, to maintain focus, attention, to comprehend explanations, to plan and follow sequence of events, that kind of thing. So all these higher order cognitive processes are what we're primarily interested in. Yeah. And we assess those with both with questions around symptoms, both what we can assess and what the caregiver can observe, and then also we ask the participants to basically perform very specific cognitive tasks. So we'll ask them to remember words and how many can they recall after a certain amount of time, or to draw figures and how well can they draw complicated figures. So these sorts of cognitive games, I like to think of them.
Right.
So we look at how well they can do those tasks at the beginning, and then how well they can do those tasks at the end. And there's a rating system, a way to score those assessments, and we can kind of compare beginning to end. Then I mentioned earlier too, one of the other ways that we're assessing effectiveness in this trial is by measuring the brain waves using an EEG, which is that I think is a very interesting approach. It's a little bit newer way of doing it, and can give us more objective data rather than just asking questions, I guess. More objective data about the brain's response to the medication.
Yeah, and I know if somebody has Parkinson's disease, one of the things is just the ability to move, or just to general, like take a step. A lot of times, I've talked to other Parkinson's experts, and they talk about music is a big motivator to help somebody get into a rhythm of something like that, in the treatment of Parkinson's. So I'm wondering how that affects somebody that has those kind of symptoms moving into being diagnosed with Lewy body dementia. Is there a affiliation with movement at that point that changes?
Well, yeah. So, so if it's Parkinson's disease dementia, those sorts of problems have been present for usually many years, at least a year at the minimum. Right. With dementia with Lewy bodies, it's possible that you may have dementia without those motor symptoms, but they usually develop very quickly afterwards.
Got it.
And so, like I say, it's those difficulties with mobility and dexterity, maybe with tremor, though the tremor is less common in dementia with Lewy bodies than it is with Parkinson's. So, yeah, those sorts of symptoms are definitely present, and we do assess those as part of the trial as well. So we're again asking about symptoms of mobility difficulty, dexterity difficulty, and then we also have a rating system for evaluating those movements on the physical exam portion. So that is a part of the effectiveness assessments.
Right. And so, and you mentioned something earlier about having a caregiver. So do they have a care partner with them that participates in the trial with them? Is that what works, or is it just anybody? I mean, are they an official partner in the trial or not?
Yes, that's actually an excellent question, and thanks for bringing that up. With trial for dementia, many patients, by the nature of the disease, are at a point where they're not able to assess some of their own symptoms. And so it is a requirement of the trial, and also really important for their care and safety, that they have a care partner who's a regular participant in their care. And this could be a spouse or another family member, or it could be a private caregiver, as long as it's somebody who's with them most of the time and can observe their changes and their symptoms over time. And they would be coming with them to the visits for the trial too.
And obviously, I know that that's really key in the fact that that person is there every day, and they're seeing probably situations that the actual participant doesn't even notice. I know with my mom, she had vascular dementia, but I know with dementia, there's certain things I knew my mom, I could tell that, I could tell she's getting a UTI because her dementia would get more pronounced, different things like that, because I was clued in. And I think, a lot of our listeners, we may have, they may have a loved one that says, wow, this could be an important thing of any kind of clinical trial. And I think the really cool thing about doing these trials is really having somebody that's with you that can really help to hone in on, the progress with you, and is your advocate in this process.
And just from a clinical standpoint, one of the more frustrating aspects of these diseases for both patients and their care partners, family members, spouses, is that the disease itself affects a person's ability to reflect and recognize their symptoms, their own limitations, which can be very frustrating for both people, because one person says, I can do this just fine, and then it's quite obvious to somebody else that they really can't.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
just creates a lot of tension. And, it's that sort of thing that really drives the need to develop these treatments so we can hopefully slow down the progression and avoid that stage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and
Yeah.
I think that what we're talking about here is really important. And I want to go into our last segment is let's talk about misconceptions about trials, and then really let's talk a little bit more about, how you can get involved in it a little bit more, and just really who you're looking for, who fits the criteria for a trial. And in the meantime, Dr. Burdick, how do we reach you?
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this segment, the best place is the website, theshapetrial.com, and also at evergreenhealth.com/research.
Mhm.
And I'll throw in the phone number this time too, if they want to reach our research department. It's 425-899-5385, and they can ask about the SHAPE trial.
Well, I'm excited to get in a little bit more into this, and just to remind every one of our listeners that, in working with Athira Pharma, they work in conjunction with the University of Washington Medical Center, as well as the Evergreen Hospital Medical Center. And they also have doctors throughout the world that are conducting similar trials. So if you're in another city, reach out and look on the website to this shapetrial.com and see if you are in the, if there's a clinic near you, because this is an important study. It's important work, and we're excited to at least be the bridge to make people aware of it. And Dr. Burdick, will you stay back with me for one more segment as we finish out our hour?
I'd be happy to.
Absolutely. We'll be right back, everyone, right after this.
The preceding podcast was provided by Athira Pharma and Answers for Elders Radio. For more information about the Alzheimer's clinical trial, go to athiraclinicaltrials.com.